Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're back with the updated tier list for 7.37b. We're going to be covering all of the 5 heroes, including Ringmaster. I do believe this hero is a very good position 5, even one of the best potentially. You'll have to see where I put him on this list. But without further ado, let's start all the way from the Pudge tier, which actually doesn't have Pudge in it, to the S tier. Alright, starting off with the Pudge tier, which used to only have Pudge because I told people not to pick Pudge. Pudge is not a bad 5 anymore. I don't know what to say, guys. That hero, ever since it got Flair's hook, is pretty decent as a support. But okay, let's get into the 3 worst supports, at least in my opinion. And just as a heads up, this tier list is going to be based on win rates for average pubs, and of course my own experiences and my own opinions. So yeah, say whatever you want in the comments, let's get into it. Starting off with the Pudge tier, we got Chen as the first hero. I think compared to the other unit heroes like Nature's Prophet, Enigma, even Enchantress, who a lot of people really struggle with, Chen is probably the worst right now. I think at the highest level, if this hero is optimized, can be okay in a pretty strong aura meta, but for the most part, I would stay away from it. It's really hard to scale and teamfight in the mid to late game as Chen, unless you're super farmed. Next up, we have Caudle, who I genuinely don't even know what safe laner you pair this with. I think the hero's an okay position 4, but I'm pretty sure it's just an awful 5. An old combo used to be Terrorblade because he would lower the cooldown of Metamorphosis and Illusions, and the hero had mana problems, which is still a decent combo. For the most part though, I think Caudle is absolutely terrible, and I don't like either of his facets. The Solar Bind is awful, and the Teleport one is cool, but generally not that good. And finally we have Bowrider, who after some nerfs is definitely one of the worst pub heroes in the game. I know you might be tempted to pick this hero, seeing Topson take all of the tier 1s with ease with the Arsonist facet, but I assure you, you will fall off like a brick and have 0 impact as the game progresses if you pick Bowrider support. Alright, getting into the E tier, we have Lion, Techies, and Dazzle. I think Lion is just not a good stun hero. Pretty terrible lane. I don't know, just not a fan. Techies got so many nerfs. This hero used to be reliable. I would always put Techies in B or A tier, but after nerf and nerf and nerf, especially ever since they changed it where his attack range is built in strictly to a facet that you don't want to take, the hero has really fallen off in my opinion. And so he is in the E tier. Finally in E tier, we have Dazzle. I think this hero is a core. Please play it as a core. Poison Bloom, core Dazzle, offlane or mid, is really good. You can farm Ancients almost as fast as any hero in the game. I'm dead serious. It's crazy. Just made a guide for that over on the Game League website. So if you're interested in that, I'm actually doing something called the All Hero Challenge, where I'm covering every hero in the game, doing a guide for every hero in the game. So go sign up now. But Dazzle, terrible support. Poison Touch is way too hard to use as a hero with no items. The E is not a good healing ability. Grave is way too clunky and unreliable. Sure, it's cool with mech, but generally terrible. And the ulti costs you health, which you don't have as a support. Next up, we have in the D tier, Enchantress and Pugna. I think Enchantress is a B or A tier hero in the pro scene due to the tempo that I can provide. But you really have to know what you're doing. You have to have a lot of team synergy, and you have to farm. If you don't do these things, you're just going to be a useless hero in the mid to late game. Next up, we have Pugna. The numbers are just not there right now. All right, getting into the C tier, we have Mirana, who I think is pretty good once again in a team setting, but in your average pub, the synergy required to make this hero work with either Solar Flare or Moonlight Shadow is not there. This hero is not a great laner, and as a result, it struggles to have impact as the game progresses, unless you have some really cool synergy with Moonlight Shadow. Next up is Silencer. Do people play this hero still? Is this hero good? It's usually a good pub hero. Does anyone play Silencer? I don't play Silencer. I haven't seen Silencer in 2 years. There's no way it's B or A tier, so it's gotta be C tier. Then we have Clockwork, a hero that was pretty recently in the A tier, but has been nerfed very, very hard. The numbers have been taken away, making its laning stage very weak. Its scaling is okay, and honestly, its mid game is alright, especially if you have a bunch of backline damage heroes. It can be okay to round that out, but for the most part, I'd stay away from it. Grimstroke takes way too much synergy. Wind Ranger is better played as a core or position 4. Disruptor, I do think that this hero is kind of cool with Kinetic Fence. Maybe if everyone took Kinetic Fence, the win rate would be better, and I would actually suggest the hero, so you could give it a shot. But for the most part, I think the hero is hard to execute, kind of like a lot of the heroes in the C, D, and U tier. Then we have Elder Titan. Ever since nerfs to his momentum facet, the hero has fallen off a bit in my opinion. I will admit, it has a 50% win rate, which is way higher than I expected. And so it prevented me from putting it in the D tier, which I originally planned on doing, strictly because of win rate. I think the reason for this is the ulti scales very well, and the hero in the late game, if you get items, is pretty hype, but as a 5, that's kind of hard to do. Then we have Venomancer, which it's sad for me to put Veno in the C tier. I think if you jungle, unironically, it's a B or an A tier support, but people will never believe that. they're gonna think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. It's a really, really good jungler. Then we have Enigma, who I just think is a better offlaner, not a great support right now. Finally is Phoenix, who I think with the right execution is a very broken hero. It's kind of like Chen or Enchantress, where the supports that need to farm have bad win rates. I think if you put enough time into Phoenix, or Chen, or Enchantress, the heroes can shine because they push in waves very effectively and can kill neutrals in downtime. But for the most part, people struggle with the balance between fighting and farming, and typically just lead towards fighting, making heroes like Phoenix have worse win rates than they probably should. As a result, its hard mechanics and pretty hard playstyle puts it in C tier. Moving into the B tier, we have Ogre. This hero's fine. You can pair it with a lot of the good ranged heroes right now, like Medusa and Lina. Then we have Pudge, who's not in the Pudge tier. Once again, I don't know, I think this hero is pretty good in the safe lane, like as a 5. Hooking people under tower is a pretty devastating laning strategy, and I've seen a lot of Pudges gain a lot of MMR and really dominate the laning stage with some clutch hooks under the tower. Then we have Bane. I've seen a rise in popularity in Bane. The main thing people are doing right now is spamming bracers. This is actually something they're doing on every single position 5, and it's something you guys should consider if you're playing position 5 as your main role, which is spamming bracers. Now that they give 50 health and 100 at minute 25, actually 300 total at minute 25, which is crazy. It's one of the most broken items in the game, and Bane takes advantage of this because Bane's main gameplay is to walk into dangerous areas, specifically during night, and then sleep people, set up, force TPs, and make kills happen. So yeah, the bracer meta of Bane, as well as his facet that I think got buffed recently. Yeah, it did. The sleepwalk got buffed, where you make people move, but I think everyone's still taking Dreamstalker, unfortunately. So maybe if Sleepwalk was really good, the hero would be A tier. Then we have Jakiro. Jakiro is my new old reliable. All right, it was techies for a while, but now it's Jakiro. The hero got nerfed a bit. It was an A or an S tier support last patch or like 2 patches ago, but its numbers got nerfed pretty hard, and they removed it where the blood grenade works with liquid frost. Ever since they did that, the hero has definitely fallen in favorability, not only in the pro scene, but also in win rate, and as a result, it's just an average B tier hero. We then have Skywrath, who scales really well and has a pretty cool facet, which is Shield of the Scion, which gives you a magic damage barrier when dealing damage to enemy heroes. I played against this in a pub, and it was pretty crazy. The Skywrath had an Axe, and I couldn't kill him with magic damage. I think I was playing Sand King, and I unironically did 0 damage to this guy. It was pretty shocking, and I'm like, wow, okay, this hero scales incredibly well as a result of its innate and its facet. Then we have Shadow Demon, who people struggle to play, but honestly, this hero, there's no way I'm not putting it in B tier. I wanted to put it in A tier. I am a huge Shadow Demon believer right now. The main reason is, especially as people get better at the game, which I know I said this video is tailored to the average pubs, but as people get better at the game, Shadow Demon becomes a better and a better hero. Why? It mainly comes down to the ulti and its ability to help you burst the first target you go on. The most popular items I've seen in high MMR right now are Solar Crest, ever since it got buffed, and Crimson Guard, depending on the game, of course. As a result, Shadow Demon being able to purge both of these makes him very deadly into heroes that want to buy these items. On top of that, Disseminate with Promulgate, his facet, makes this hero devastating in burst damage combos. What it does is when you click your W, it makes them lose 20% of their health. Flat out, that's it! Just lose 20% of their health! And this ability makes the target take bonus damage too, if there's no one around them. So it's pretty insane what Shadow Demon can do for your team comp when it comes to helping you burst the first target. Then we have Crystal Maiden. I think this hero's innate is really good. It's just like super solid, great shard. We have Io. I believe in healing right now. I think a lot of the healing heroes in the game are solid, which is funny because Chen and Enchantress and Pugna are not there. Once again, Shin and Ench, you can move them up to like C or low B if you're a specialist. But okay, getting back to the point with Io, I think Io can be really, really strong right now. Pair him with a Razor, a Gyro, or even something like a Viper safe lane. And you can go pretty crazy with like heal builds. I'm a huge believer in Holy Lock and Mech in this meta, paired with like a Pipe. And also something that Io mega benefits from is the Bracer changes. This hero loves having HP. It does not want to get bursted. And having this double Bracer makes Io super hard to kill throughout the game. He can buy Mech, Holy Lock it, have a ton of open slots and just have like 2 or 3 bracers and be unkillable. Then we have Winter Wyvern, who is just like this very, very good scaling pub hero. Hard to execute on, but as a result of its scaling and its heal build, I'm a big fan of, once again, Holy Locket Wyvern and Max E with the talent, and you can go pretty crazy as the game progresses. Then we have Marcy, who I love right now, mainly because of her pairing with Lina in the safe lane, Medusa in the safe lane, even Drow right now in the safe lane, Wind Ranger, Mirana. There's so many good pairings with Marcy right now that a first pick Marcy in the safe lane as a position 5 or the off lane as a position 4 is nasty right now. I also love her innate and both of her facets. Then we have AA. It mainly comes down to kind of just scaling. This hero scales stupid well and is a great team fighter and very easy to execute, so he's easily a B tier hero. We then have Furion, whose win rate is more of a C or a D tier hero, but I'm telling you, if you get this hero down, it is broken. The reason why Furion is so good is ever since they made it where the Treant has 350 base movement speed, it can kill and zone out any hero. I've won like 9 of my last 10 Furion games, some of them being core, but a lot of them being position 5. I think most of them being position 5. The item build I'm going almost every game is Solar Crest, Shard, and Drums. The utility you have in fights and the split push as well as wave shove potential is insane. They made it where your ulti bounces to every single target on the map, making your wave shove and farming potential, even as a support, absolutely broken. So I love Furion right now. You can even buy a later axe and just split push the enemy to death. Then we have Treant. Treant's also like Jakiro in my opinion. Like, I feel like Treant and Jakiro are just always like smack in high B or like low A. Maybe he should be low A. I don't know. This hero's just good. Sapling, Leech Seed. Easy to execute, good team fight, not bad cooldowns. Like even Overgrowth is not that long of a cooldown. What is it? 120. It's not too bad for what it is, right? For how good of an ability is. 5-second BKB, piercing disable in the late game. Once again, I'm a big fan of scaling in pubs. Games tend to go 30-40 minutes, so you want to have that capability. Then we have Lich. I don't see this hero basically ever in the pro scene, but its win rate easily puts it in A tier. I've played against it like once recently in pubs, and the guy actually dumpstered the game. You get mana from creeps dying nearby, and it actually makes the hero have pretty crazy sustain and really good poke. On top of that, it has 2 of the best facets in the game, Frostbound, which makes your abilities linger. Like if your ulti doesn't find any target, it lingers and then can keep bouncing. It's really good. There's also Growing Cold, which is when an enemy dies to Chain Frost or under the effects of Frost Shield, the duration is extended. So both of his assets have very good win rate, and in general, it's just a good pub hero, mostly coming down, in my opinion, to the fact that Chain Frost is this crazy scaling ability. I also thought this hero would shoot up in win rate ever since they made it where you can cast abilities during Sinister Gaze. I really believe that this would be like a huge change. Plus, your E is a creep farming ability, which I also thought would be kind of good because you can one-shot neutrals in the mid game with max E. But I don't know, not popular in the pro scene. Maybe should be. Then in the A tier we have Venge. I don't have anything special to say about Venge, but I do believe she's one of the best Solar Crest buyers in the game. The hero desperately needs the HP, the armor, and the mana pool that the item provides, as well as the fact that like it just makes sense on the hero. You're amping physical damage already with your W and your E, right? Minus armor and base damage amp, and then you're giving a carry Solar Crest, giving them 70 attack speed, as well as then you can buy an Ags and scale into the game. And once again, scaling is key in pubs. It is king, it is key. Venge Ags is like the best scaling Ags in the game for support, hands down. Next up we have Undying. I think this hero is just good. It tends to be a good buff hero because Tombstone is very dominant. I really believe in its facet Ripped, which gives a percentage of his strength to allies when you soul rip them, and I think the skill build should actually be 4-4-1 with a Holy Locket Rush in order to maximize this hero. A lot of people still max Tombstone, which I get. This ability, if it gets ignored in fights, can 1v9, but for the most part, I think the most reliable way to play the hero is maxing your Decay, then maxing Soul Rip, or even maxing Soul Rip and then Decay with a Holy Locket. Also, keep in mind, guys, that bracers are like really broken on this hero, because when they double, your ulti benefits. Your ulti gives you 40, 50, or 60% of your current strength as a multiplier, and so when you buy 2 or 3 bracers and have a Holy Locket, you can't die, and you can frontline like crazy. So this bracer meta super favors Undying. Then we have Oracle, Scaling Beast, really the innate as well, Prognosticate. That's a hard word to say, Prognosticate. Prognosticate, I think I'm saying it right. Basically, he tells you where the rune is. This is pretty good because it means you don't have to contest the rune, which Oracle loves because Oracle is terrible at contesting the rune. He's really, really bad. All Oracle wants to do is get to the mid game. The early game of this hero is not too good. It's really quite bad. However, it kind of doesn't matter in pubs. As I've stated over and over and over again, it generally doesn't matter as much as you think. The higher you go, the more it matters, which is why Oracle becomes less and less popular and tends to have a worse win rate. But if your matchups are good, for instance, a hero like Sand King hates playing against Oracle, Primal Beast hates playing against Oracle, whoever these heroes try to burst, on an 11-second cooldown, you have a 5-second duration magic immunity that no longer disarms your allies. Ever since that patch, Oracle has been a pretty good pub hero. It has a 450 heal, and in the aura meta of Pipe Crimson, it just feels great when your Oracle can get saved by your offlaner who's amping them up. On top of that, I don't actually think Oracle wants to buy mech, and so having offlaners that buy mech, which are semi-popular in the meta, a little bit less so now, we're seeing more pipe, less mech, is good. Then we have Warlock, Team Fighting Menace, Scaling Menace, stupid facets, really good innate. Yeah, it's just a great pup hero. Reliable, healing for hard lanes, team fight, as I said, scaling, can buy useful items because it can farm. This hero does everything. Then we have Witch Doctor, who I think only should be played with Headhunter. Don't pick either of the other facets. People are probably tempted to take Cleft Death, but I'm almost certain it's awful. Headhunter is the way to go. It makes your cask deal more damage, and you actually scale well. Then I would just recommend going Solar Crest into Holy Locket and being a frontline tank and healer. You can scale into the late game with Ags and your Shard, and that is the way to play the hero. It's super strong, very powerful, and definitely good in this meta. Talking about healing, we have Tinker. If you guys haven't played Tinker support, 5 or 4, it doesn't matter. Holy Locket Mech Tinker or Holy Locket Solar Crest Tinker is strictly broken. This hero's talents are OP. This hero's facet, Heal Bots, is OP. Healing Bots just define this hero. You farm way too fast. You scale like a menace. If the game is slow, whatever, you can farm. If the game is fast, just go click Heal Bots on everyone. Then we have Abaddon. Solid pub hero, always has a high win rate, just has to be A tier due to the ease of execution and the high impact this hero has, as well as good scaling with Holy Locket into Axe. Then we have the S tier. Let's get into the two heroes that are in the S tier. First off, we have Omni Knight. This hero really surprised me because it's being picked in high MMR as well. A lot of people are playing it, and it has some of the highest win rate in average pubs as well, so it is absolutely an S tier hero. Two of the best facets in the game. Omnipresent, which makes you deal more damage to heroes inside of Degen Aura, up to 20%. This is really good in the laning stage and helps you trade well, or you can have Healing Hammer, which heals you for 25% of damage done by your abilities. It's really good with your Q or your E for trading in the laning stage, so basically it has two great trading abilities. This is great because Omni otherwise isn't the best laner. Hammer of Purity is an okay trading ability because of the fact that it's only 30 mana. Your Q is alright, but you can't really use it on your carry a lot of the time, considering you generally want to pair this hero with ranged heroes, even though I'm seeing some like Omni Sven, Omni Ursa, stuff like this. But the big thing is ever since they made it, where now Repel gives 60% status resist, it is essentially a free BKB. Previously, up until patch 7.37, even if you repelled someone, they couldn't be stunned, but they could take full magic damage. So a hero like Zeus would just destroy Omni Knight, which made no sense. On top of that, they made his ulti go back to AoE, which was a huge change. It's a pretty small radius at a 400 radius, so you have to be really close. But honestly, the bracer meta on this hero loves bracers. You just get stupid tanky, and then you put Repel on your carry, and you're gonna feel good. It also has a great shard that basically doubles your Q, slightly less than doubles your Q, and so that's nice to get from the Torn. On top of that, you have nasty talents. Like, all of your talents are OP besides level 25, which is kind of funny. And finally, the most broken hero, actually, the most broken maybe is Omni Knight, but let's say they're tied, is Ringmaster. Yeah, I mean, guys, the hero's a 51% win rate right now. I assure you, this is not a 51% win rate hero. It is not, okay? The only reason it's a 51% win rate hero is because it's hard to play. This hero has an active Q, and you can miss it. That is kind of hard to use. The W is a save ability you have to use at the right time and doesn't have good cast range. Should probably take the 10 cast range talent. Then, the E is a skill shot. It's a little hard to use. It's really broken though. It's 4 charges of 5% of your max health for 4 seconds. That is like 80% of someone's max health. I'm not kidding. Its ulti is really broken and a teamfight spell that scales. It has a shard that gives vision. It has free innate that just gives him souvenirs, one of which is the most broken thing in the game. This strongman tonic gives 5 strength and 1.5 per level. If you're level 10, which is not a high level, you give 20 strength. 20 strength, and it like heals them for that amount. It's not like a relative thing, at least not from what I've seen. It like heals them. It's unbelievably broken. Early game, late game, it's just hard because the hero has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active buttons, including the souvenir and the shard. Usually it's gonna be 5. Okay, whooped it, 5. It's hard to play, but it's broken. You don't believe me? Give it some time. I assure you the win rate's going to continue to increase. It's the new hero syndrome. It will get nerfed at some point. Try to learn it now while it's still OP. You just got to give it some time and max the E. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!